Special guest. We have two guests today, two awesome guests we're so happy to have today on the show. We've got Willard Snow, a Hollywood acclaimed psychedelic artist that's bringing the 60s to the now. And then we have Michael C. Drebert, who is a world acclaimed, award-winning composer of film and cinema. Michael C. Drebert.
Yeah, well, he collaborated on Willard Snow's short documentary film about his career in his art world, and Michael C. Drebert did the soundtrack for Willard. So
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so they collaborated on a short film, and most people might remember Michael C. Drebert as Elton John in the acclaimed Benny the Jets tribute to Elton John band. So. Yep. Michael C. Drebert and Willard Snow will be our guest on the Rockin House today. And what you would call Willard Snow is specifically a multimedia artist. So,
yes, absolutely.
You know, everything you can see from computer-generated graphics to he's even a sculpture
welding, all kinds of things.
You know, if you need elaborate paint schemes on your guitars and stuff like that, he's all about it. So he actually likes working on instruments too. So Willard's going to be on the show, and Michael.
Absolutely. So let's bring on right now first, and then we get to Michael, Willard Snow to the Rockin House. Welcome, brother, to the show. All right, this is Marky Z, and welcome to Season 3, as we have a special guest today, a psychedelic man. He's climbing to fame with his artwork. It's like back in the 1960s, the kind of work he does, but he brings like a flavor of now, all the way from the Mojave Desert, San Bernardino, California County. We got Willard Snow. Welcome, Willard, to the Rockin House. We're so happy to have you as our guest today.
Thank you.
How's it going,
It's
bro?
good to be here. Awesome.
Awesome. I see some amazing work.
It's kind of cool in the desert. It's not hot yet.
Really?
Super nice.
Wow. And I see some really cool artwork behind you there. It's amazing. But before we get into that, I want to talk about how you started. How did things start for Willard Snow? Like, were you a kind of guy that, like, you always drew pictures and stuff, and you always had a knack for art and doing things like that?
Yeah, I always was drawing, coloring, doodling, and I have an older sister who was an avid doodler, and she was probably in junior high school, and we used to lay on the floor, and I would copy these intricate patterns she made, and then, you know, she dropped it, but I never did.
So that's got you involved, okay.
You know, I grew up in Southern California in the beach cities,
nice.
South LA County, and this kind of stuff was everywhere when I was a little kid.
Yeah, man.
And you know, later on, I discovered music, and of course, the music I discovered had art attached to it.
Yes.
You know, one of the first bands that lit me up was Yes, and I was in 6th or 7th grade.
Yes, it's great.
And, you know, I'm looking at the album cover going, holy shit, this is awesome, you know.
Yeah, Roger Dean, man, killer stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of a natural thing, but I was into art, and all my friends kind of became musicians.
Right.
I have a couple that are visual artists, but I never went into the musical discipline. I just kind of farted around with it because I was already pretty heavily committed to visual art.
Gotcha. Very awesome. Okay, so that's how it started for you. And then, of course, you kept doing artwork, like as artists. I'm a graphic artist, digital artist. I always did artwork all the time. I love it. It's a natural thing. But then music goes hand in hand with this universal language. It's all the arts, man. You know?
Right.
I see some amazing art behind you. And this is what you're doing now. So how did you get involved to getting your art into the gallery level?
I don't even know that I ever got to that level, but I'm going on my, I've been pushing it out there myself.
Gotcha, sure.
And I would, I spent a lot of years graphic design, web design, all those things that were challenging for a number of reasons, but never artistically really very challenging. The tools were always a fascination, and I think I was actually able to sort of excel and enjoy being a graphic artist because I was learning new tools, and I always like to learn new tools.
Nice.
Because I like to do ceramics and I can fire kilns. I know how that works.
Okay.
I like to do metalwork. I can weld. I can run a little forge or a little foundry and make metal. I can fabricate with a welder. I can do lithography. I can do etching. I can do woodcut. I can do silkscreen. I got a little silkscreen thing going in the garage because I got some material. So I've just been able to do all that and learn all those tools. So once I was really in business, it was kind of a dog-eat-dog thing. And then, of course, the tools that we use, they make it so easy for people to think they know what they're doing, and then they don't really value it. And so it was always a challenge, and I never really enjoyed it as much as after I was kind of really super competent with software. In fact, my favorite thing was to teach people. I was teaching adult school in Torrance, and I liked teaching adults to use software better than I liked using it professionally.
Gotcha.
Because I like teaching people. It's fun.
All right, well, Willard, we're going to hold and go back for a little break. We'll come back with Willard Scott in just a moment and talk about some of his pieces behind him and how they led him into getting a movie put together, almost like a dream come true. We'll be back in a minute. As you can see in the back, he has some amazing pieces. You got David Bowie's, got trippy artwork, man. When I look at that work right there, Willard, it makes me think of the Doors, it makes me think of Janis Joplin, it makes me think of the Jimi Hendrix. I mean, it just takes you right back just looking at that kind of style work. Let's talk a little bit about that, and then, of course, we can get into how you put this into film.
Okay. Well, I had a lot of exposure to this art because I grew up down there in Southern California. There were always clubs in the beach cities. When I really started becoming aware of music, like bands like Journey were playing down there all the time. Before Steve Perry was in Journey, they used to play down there all the time. Then he joined and boom, they were off elsewhere. And, a lot of bands like Van Halen, other bands. And of course, in my art class in high school, my painting teacher was a Deadhead.
Okay. Definitely Grateful Dead influence.
He sometimes would only let us play Grateful Dead records.
Gotcha.
And so we were kind of like, at first I kind of was like, what? I mean, I was a little bit more into the progressive rock thing, and I was like, whatever. And then after a while, I was like, holy shit, these songs are pretty good, There's like Jack Straw. Like, wow, I can see that song. I can see the narrative playing out. And and of course, I'm looking at the artwork going, this and of course, but that was, we were playing Working Man's Dead and American Beauty and Long String Trip, and some pretty early, dead stuff. And then somebody brought in Terrapin Station and Blues for All, and I was, oh, wow, they are a progressive rock band.
Nice.
And then I went like more deep into that, and of course those artists, again, you got Stanley Mouse and Alton Kelly and Rick Griffin and John Van Hammersveld, and all these very storied, famous rock and roll artists did their art.
Right.
And it's funny, my sisters went to high school with John Van Hammersveld and Rick Griffin in South.
Wow.
We were carrying a Wake of the Flood album in my house, and my sister said, "Oh, Rick Griffin, I know him."
That's so cool.
And I was like, "This guy, this Rick
Wow.
Griffin, you know him?" And my sister said, "Yeah, I'm sure that's him."
Very
And I was
awesome.
like, "My sister became so much cooler that second."
Okay. All right, well, look, let's talk about some of your influence of your art. I mean, you're saying about bands and how they influence the art, and you could see, like, the music in that era, that is the type of music that flew out as the passion of the artist. And me being also an artist myself, I can paint things. You kind of like become like a god because you can paint things on a canvas or on paper that you create. You become like you created, and that music does. When you listen to Yes, like Roger Dean, like that artwork you see on that album cover, I was blown away. I could stare at Roger Dean's work for hours. One of the Drama, that album cover, I love that album cover. You open it up, it's even cooler. Yes songs, Onios, Topical Ocean. I mean, dude, just such cool artwork that Roger Dean did. He did the Uriah Heep stuff. I mean, let's talk about some of your major influences of artists that became why you do what you do. Like, they were your influence.
Yeah. Well, Roger Dean was smacked me in the face kind of first because, my friends in school played roundabout in some, form in class. And I was like, what? I like that.
Yeah.
So I dove into it, right? But if you see Roger Dean's paintings as well, if you have the chance to go see them, the scale of them is much bigger than the album covers. So you really can go kind of immerse yourself. Big.
Yeah.
They're like that. They're big. So I didn't know that really. I've seen reproductions and I've seen pictures, but I really saw the scale of those paintings the other day, and I was like, wow, that's awesome.
Wow.
Because it should be big like that.
Oh, yeah.
They're very immersive things. If you're there, record albums were cool.
Yes.
When the record 12-inch died, the connection to art and music kind of it lost a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
But even now, LPs are big again, and hopefully, even with NFTs now, you could get the digital music, and maybe you could get beautiful art and stuff. So that one was a big one, Roger Dean. And, then there were, those others, I wasn't really a huge Journey fan, but I liked their album covers.
Yeah, they were cool.
Mouse and Kelly were, and of course I grew up in California, and all these guys were California artists, which was really fucking cool, right?
Yeah.
Because I identified, I still live in California, even though there's a lot of problems here, and I'm really getting tired of paying.
Yeah.
And, but I live in a place that's inexpensive still for California. And I want to stay. I love it.
Well, let's talk about this.
California's been a huge influence on my art. It's kind of funny. I segued into that. I didn't go into artists, but California is really a huge influence on my life. The seashore, the mountains, the desert, the redwoods, Sierras.
Redwoods are amazing. I've been there twice. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
I walked a 4-mile trail. It was like in like some kind of Robert Frost freaking book or something. It's crazy how.
Right?
Yeah, it's wicked, man. It's so cool. But before we go to the next break, Willard, I want to talk about how you got involved with taking your artwork and transferring this awesome style to now with some of these well-known artists like John Anderson or Mark Schulman. I mean, you know, they're basically showing your art, which is awesome.
Schulman is showing my art. Schulman really is showing my art. He's done a lot for me. Really cool.
Love it.
An amazing person.
So cool.
Very, very. He's got a lot of wisdom. He's got a lot of talent. He's got a lot of energy.
Love it.
He's just really, really gave me a lot of time.
Yeah.
And I took the things he said to me, and I've tried to do them because he's a tremendous businessman as well.
I love it. So these spawned a lot of opportunities for you now to create your art and put it on instruments.
I hope so.
So cool.
You know, a guy talking to me right now about doing a guitar. You know, I like building them.
Nice.
You know, this guitar.
Yeah, show it. You can bring it up a little bit. You ever see this?
This Paul Special.
That's
that
so
I
cool,
bought at a
man.
pawn shop.
I love it. Look at that. Looks like an acid trip. I love it. That's so cool. Yeah, man. Looks like a jungle or something in the back.
So, but this guitar, the guy literally carved his name at the top of it.
Really?
It was a mess.
Oh,
The
wow.
body was a mess. And it had EMG pickups, but it didn't have the preamp foot
Gotcha.
pickup.
Gotcha.
And of course, the switches are special for those pickups.
Yep.
And that system. And I wanted it to be more like the stock guitar.
Right.
This stock guitar had P90 pickups.
Gotcha.
These are not factory. These are Lindy Fralin P90 pickups, and they sound like really amazing.
Nice.
Nice.
Very cool.
So that's what I wanted, was for the guitar to kind of be restored, and then to recreate the giant guitar.
Right.
I
Yes.
did in Hollywood.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to come back after this little bit of break. We're going to talk about how Willard's, you know, his artwork actually now went into film production, and there's a movie out about it, Legends and Idols. We're going to talk about that in a minute when we come back. All right, this is Marky Z again. I'm back with my partner Rock Dude as we finish our segment with Willard here on the show. We're going to talk about, we did talk about some awesome stuff already, a little bit about some of those paintings that are in the back right there. And now we're going to talk about how your artwork is now incorporated in Legends and Idols. That's an actual film. It's already out and it's been out. And how is things going with that?
People are watching it.
That's good.
You know, what we need is we need people to watch it.
Right. Absolutely.
And so please, iTunes, Amazon,
Sure.
Vimeo, go watch it. It's a couple bucks.
Yep. Yep.
You know,
Yep.
it's less than a cup of Starbucks crappy coffee.
You're absolutely
So,
right.
This guitar is a good segue. I
Yep.
painted Jerry Garcia on this guitar because I painted a giant guitar for Gibson Guitars.
Yes.
It's now sitting in the valet parking of the Andaz West Hollywood, right on the Sunset Strip.
That's awesome.
Inside the Andaz is the guitar that I painted that has Mark Bolan on it.
Okay.
A lot of it's Robert Plant, unless they're British. The British look at it and go, "Oh, that's Mark."
Okay.
Americans go, "Oh, that's Robert Plant," and I just go, "Yeah, okay," because
Yep.
the painting, it's more the iconic impression of the rock star than it is the person, although I did it after T-Rex. So I painted these giant guitars, and I also did Jerry Garcia, which is on this guitar.
Right.
And I did Janis Joplin and Bob Marley. So I did 4 of these giant guitars, and Gibson gave me 2 of them back, and they're at my house out on my property.
Wow.
I have guests come and stay on my place, so they're out there and they take pictures, and it's cool.
Yeah.
And they're out in the desert with the Joshua trees and there's like a stream bed in my backyard. We have a nice little place,
Nice.
kind of on the edge of the wilderness. So yeah, what else?
Let's talk about that paint. I'm looking at that painting. It's like kind of iridescent. I think you said it was a picture of David Bowie back in a certain era with him.
Right.
And you're not finished that one, right?
Well, I'm kind of touching it up
Okay.
and fitting it up for the owner of the painting.
Nice.
And the last thing that I really have to do, I hope, because I keep looking at the painting and I see
Yeah.
things and I have to fix them. And anyway,
Yep.
I have some actual gold foil that I got at a gem show because it's kind of tricky to get the real gold stuff.
Mhm.
So I got the bottle of gold foil and I'm going to put it in the forehead.
Mhm.
So I have a gold eye spot up there.
Nice.
And then I have to deliver it, photograph it, deliver it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
And it's the Dory era David Bowie. He wanted David Bowie, and he said, pick the one you want, and I like that one.
All right, my brother. Well, other than that, like, what do we see in the future for you as we're closing out this part with you? Of course, we're going to have Michael coming on the show in a little bit.
Well, I really like doing instruments.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I really like doing instruments, and I've done quite a few.
Nice.
I recently sold a Telecaster that I used to carry it around, so I'd show it, and eventually somebody went, "Oh, I have to have it," and that was nice, you know. And I've made several others. My friend in Hollywood, Bunny Nose Guitars, he builds them. He's got
Nice.
actually several of them at McCabe's got Guitar Shop on Pico,
Nice.
which is a really famous place.
Nice.
Nice. So there's a few I painted there, I think, right now. And I'm going to work on some more. I've got a.
Cool. Okay. Gotta do some of that.
Raw one.
Yeah.
Ready to
Yeah, man. Nice.
Fender style is nice because the bolt-on neck just makes it a little more trouble-free, but I didn't really have a problem with this guitar, finishing it and masking it and keeping it clean while I did it. You know, the finish is totally smooth.
Yeah.
I kind of left a little bit of brush mark on the back, but it's still got a clear coat over everything. Painting's totally protected.
Right.
It's got a really nice, strong finish. I can easily repair it if it gets dinged or something. It's a really nice process. I got my own thing.
So as we close out the show with you again, we're gonna have Michael. He's gonna be coming up shortly. See Drebert. Are you gonna be bringing some of your gallery over to the East Coast? Is there a possibility you might be bringing this across the country or through the country? I don't know what your plans are. I'm just curious to know if that might be in the works.
That needs to happen.
Okay. All right.
Here, I do little festivals.
Awesome.
I've got the guitars. I've got my art, and guitars are expensive to build, and I'd love to have several to take out. I'd like to sell, you know, some so I can buy parts and put some together. Because if I was going to go to the East Coast, I have a body of work certainly to show, but I would like to have several guitars. I really like having my art on instruments that are being played by excellent guitar players. I did a little video of this guitar with my neighbor who's a professional guitar player. He owns a little music store in town.
Nice.
He worked on it a little bit and he did me a nice little 3-minute video, and I gave him a little plug. And he did this for me before a long time ago. I did a Telecaster, which was also black and white.
Nice.
Kind of funny. It was really like the second or third time I finished a guitar, and I really actually figured out my whole guitar finishing process on that guitar. I took it there and bought strings, and I said, "Hey, play this thing. No one's ever played it."
Right.
And plugged it in and ran through it. So I was trying to get a local friend of mine to play this one for the video, and he's sick, so that couldn't happen. And I wanted you to be able to access it, so I went down to the guy Stan again, and Stan's music, Yucca Valley. And he gave me a nice little run through on the Les Paul.
Very cool.
So that's people to look at.
All right. Well, in closing on that note, I'd like to thank you for coming to the show. It was awesome having you as our guest. Let's hope that you can get a little mini type of festival tour coming over to the East Coast so you could showcase this amazing artwork to people over here. I think they'd love it, you know. So I want to say thank you for, you know, coming to the show. We got Michael C. Drebert. He'll be coming up next. Don't go anywhere. All right, this is Marky Z, and I'm here with our next guest on the show. Willard Scott was awesome to have. Michael C. Drebert, all the way from Tennessee. We have him on the show today to talk about some awesome stuff and how his connection is with Willard Snow. Michael, welcome to the Rockin House. We are so happy to have you here today. How are you doing?
Thank you. Good to be here.
Awesome.
Good to be alive. I'm glad to be alive for the rest of the show.
It's awesome, brother. God bless you on that. I'm with you. Let's start with you on how things started for you as a musician. There's schooling involved. You went to some of the best schools. Let's talk about how this started. What got you involved with music, arts, the business?
Well, at the age of 5, I started playing the piano.
Nice.
And then it blossomed from there. I had this Wurlitzer spinner that was in my bedroom, and it was not very far away from the bed like this one.
Okay, gotcha.
It's always been a reminder to me
Sure.
that music is just a stone throw away from, you know, getting the impulse or the whatever idea happens, could happen in a dream. The piano has always been there.
Right.
And
Yes.
and I look at the piano, I look at all the other instruments that I play, and I see the piano.
Gotcha. Okay.
Piano's a percussion instrument,
Sure.
and I bang the thing, but it's gotten me through a lot of good times and bad.
Right.
Good times. Five years old, I took my first piano lesson with my mother.
Okay.
She sat me down and did the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I took it and ran with it.
Nice.
And my parents weren't exactly sure whether that was the right thing for me or not. And I remember one afternoon, she was teaching my older brother, Mark,
Okay.
something on the piano. And me, I'm like buzzing around, you know, and they go, Michael, go, you know, play on a freeway. And,
Okay.
and I just couldn't wait for them to finish and get off that piano so I could jump on there and start
Yeah.
banging.
I got you.
And my parents looked, they go, you know, maybe we're focusing on the wrong kid. And at that point, they enrolled me into music lessons, and from there on, it grew. I took classical theory.
Nice.
It was amazing. My dad used to listen to Frank Sinatra.
Okay. Frankie.
And he used to listen to Herb Albert and the Tijuana Brass.
Okay, yeah. I heard of that. Sure.
And so these were big influences in my musical songwriting.
Okay.
But most of it was learning about the classical greats, the classic greats.
Nice.
Debussy, Mozart,
Yep.
Beethoven,
Right.
Liszt, Chopin.
Yeah.
There's so many that I could just rattle off, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah. This is where your roots are
Waste
coming
my time on
from.
that.
I get it. I get it. Absolutely. They're like incredible. You know? So from there, you kept going with music. It became a natural thing. You felt the passion to play on that piano. You knew that's what you wanted to do. Did you go to like a major music school? We talked a little bit about that earlier.
Well, I ended up going to Lucy Stern in Palo Alto because I'm originally from California.
California. Okay. Sure.
Yeah, the Bay Area, the San Francisco Bay Area.
Sure. Sure. Yep.
I was born in Redwood City,
Okay.
California.
Oh, I know. I've been there. I've
Yeah.
seen the Redwoods twice. I did I was telling Willard about that. It's phenomenal to do that 4-mile walk throughout the Redwoods. It was so cool.
Oh yeah.
I loved it. It's like almost like mystical, really. How big those trees are. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Lucy Stern was where I studied acting,
Okay.
and that was it was theater, and it had children's theater and then adult.
Okay.
And most of the time that I spent there was with children's theater.
Okay.
But later on in life, I ended up donating my time as a judge in the art and documentary jury film division
All
with
right.
NEM,
Wow.
which is National Educational Media Network.
Yep.
And I held a chair position for 5 years,
Wow.
and judging winners for the Gold, Silver, and Bronze Apple Award.
Nice.
And I got to see the Dead Sea Scrolls before they hit the public.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah. But the influences stem from my family. I mean, it's I'm from a family of engineers and scientists
Wow.
and inventors.
Wow.
Um,
So you got a lot of gears turning in your head, man. You're like a genius when it comes to composing music.
well, I don't know about that. I like working in the trenches.
Okay.
I like going out of the box.
I love that. I'm the same
You
way.
know, it's I have an envision that every time that I do go out of the box,
Right.
I go and hang out with the Mac, God,
Yeah, man.
and
That's right.
I got a basket full of stuff when I come back,
Right. Yeah.
and it's a relationship between God and I, and when I put it down, God promises that it'll be there when I come back.
I agree, brother. That's where my talent comes from a major force, and I believe it's God. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just give voice. Not mine, it's God's. But, you know,
Well, I hear you. I know what you're saying, and I understand you because I can't read a note. I can't write any music or notes and things, but for some reason, I just know how to play it. I can't.
So, how's your
explain it.
ear?
I have
Pretty-
an ear
pretty
for
blunt, huh?
I have an ear for music, brother. Yes, that's correct.
I play by ear.
Yes, sir. Oh, that's great, man. No, but for real, on all seriousness, it is. It's a gift, and I know it. And obviously, you have that gift that is phenomenal to be able to do what you do. That's amazing. Something I learned today. I did not know that you're in that situation with the connection spiritually. It's amazing.
Well, there's not that many people I know that compose the way I do. And Elton John is one of them.
Right?
You know,
Phenomenal. Yes.
and there's a lot more of us out there than you realize.
Right,
And
right.
but they don't dedicate themselves to putting themselves out there as well as they should.
Right.
And it's not their fault. They just don't know how.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what.
And it's people like you and me
Right.
who reach out
Right.
and say, look, I'll help you. Well, what's your job? My job is to get the music out to the world. That's where you're going to find me.
Right.
Not always my music. It's finding the music. Finding people who have problems getting their music out to the world. Biggest deal in this.
Oh yes, it's not easy. Anyone says it's easy, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. That's a fact, and I'll be the first to admit that. You know?
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, Michael, we're going to come back in just a minute and talk about you being the star of a tribute to Elton John, Benny and the Jets, in just a moment. Marky Z, I'm back with Michael C. Drebert. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let's talk about, moving forward, how you got involved with fronting one of the world-class tribute bands to Elton John, Benny and the Jets. Let's start with that.
Well, his music was easy to do.
Really?
The difficulty with that was memorizing all his stuff.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I have a mental capacity that I found out that there was rearranging words
Yes.
in elementary school, and they really didn't know what to do with me. I had. It was like a free ride, and okay, my seatbelt's on, I'm plugged in, let's go. And to see all these people dance around me to try and figure out what the heck is going on with this kid. And
Okay.
all they could do is come up with, well, he sees things backwards,
Like dyslexia, kind of?
Yeah, dyslexia. Dyslexia.
Gotcha. So you see all things jumbled up.
Well, one time I was, we were closing out a show, and we were doing Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting.
Okay.
And on stage, there's a point where the guitarist gets to do his lead.
Yes.
And I jump off the piano and I run around, and I got like platform shoes on like this, right?
Like Elton, that's great.
And they're nosebleeders, and it's real difficult to get around on stage.
Oh, yeah. Imagine Kiss. With their boots, right? Yeah.
These shoes, I'll tell you about them in a minute. But so we're rocking and rolling on stage, and we're doing a conga line, right?
Okay.
And it's coming up to my piano solo, and I'm across on the other side of the stage. I go, oh shit! And there's monitors, wedges, amps,
Everything in a way.
IOUs, everything in fucking way, man.
I'm with you, brother. I know
There's
it.
this one shot at my piano, and so I take it. I start running in
Nice.
8-inch platform shoes.
Oh my God.
And I dive, do a Superman on my piano, on the bonnet,
That's
on
great.
the lid.
Great.
And not realizing the physical effects of doing a concert show for an hour and a half. I'm sweating like a pig.
Yeah.
And the piano is, this nice, dry, beautiful, paint-coated
Finish.
shine.
Yeah.
I get halfway and skid to a stop. And I can touch the keys, but I'm backwards. And I'm like kind of looking at the audience. They're looking at me. They go, this has got to be part of the show, And
Okay.
so my right hand is doing the bass and my left hand is doing the treble.
Right.
And I'm hitting it, and it's actually sounding pretty good.
Right,
so I'm
right.
just going with it. And
Going with it,
the
yeah.
whole place, the whole place just rises up, you know, and goes mad, goes crazy.
Nice. Nice.
And that, somebody was videoing that. That
Oh.
video is out there somewhere.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
And when did this happen? Like 2000 something or earlier?
This was in San Jose.
Hmm.
Back in '86.
Oh, God, in the 80s. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing.
Yeah. That was before I started doing which we'll talk about this in the next segment.
Sure.
But anyway, the platform shoes.
Right. Back to that.
These platform shoes I got from none other than Jerry Lewis,
Okay.
the comic Jerry Lewis.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
He did a movie called Slapstick of Another Kind.
Okay.
And in real quick, the scenario is the brother and sister are twins,
Okay.
and they're from another planet, and they're supposed to be tall and really big.
Okay.
And so there's this one scene in their bedroom that the set decorators, they created the bed. It was like a bunk bed,
Okay.
and Jerry couldn't reach the bed. You know, it was the scenes that you got to go sit on the bed, and he couldn't. You can't.
Okay, gotcha.
So the props department created these. They took these boots that you would find on skates,
Right.
and then they removed the trucks, the wheels, and everything, and put on this really light polymer lips,
Wow.
about 8 inches,
How about it?
painted all white, and then they were able to, you know, walk around and everything. Well, later on I knew the executive producer of the film.
Okay.
I dated his daughter,
Okay.
and he lived in South Pasadena in the hills in this 160-year-old Catholic church. It's converted over, and it's the same place that Ozzy Osbourne did a music video.
Wow.
With a Compton and everything. It's the same place. Anyway, you go downstairs out in the back, and you go down a couple of flights, and there's this prop room, because we were all going to go do something for Halloween, and
Right.
we didn't have any.
Right.
So Patrick, he goes, what you do is he goes downstairs, go around to the outside, go into the room. We walked into this room, and there's this 1313 Mockingbird Lane. I'm going, is that the Munsters thing? Remember the Munster?
Yeah.
There was wigs, and I saw these shoes.
Oh my God.
And these shoes, I go, I ended up being Nikki Sixx for Halloween. Okay? But I carved out the heel and the front, carved it out, painted it, put some, you know, some limes and some, you know, cowboy diamonds on it, and
Yeah.
spray paint.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised what you do with spray paint adhesive.
Right.
And they've been showstoppers with the show ever since.
That's
And
amazing.
they were gifts
Wow.
vicariously from Jerry Lewis. He wore them.
Wow.
He's the only one that wore them besides me.
Wow.
And so during the Benny the Jets, the Elton John show,
Right.
I would wear them for encores
Okay.
only. I mean, I had a whole wardrobe of platform shoes. My friends, Mark San Juan, he would send me, you know, shoes. Yeah, I got this from the Haight-Ashbury district in San Francisco at a Goodwill, you know.
Wow.
Do what you do. So I sent it to my Soppetto, and he, you know, lifted it a little bit more, and then I went and got I have this place where I can buy all this nice fabric that is shiny. And on stage, the trick with the show is when the lights hit you, it comes alive, and it looks like $1 million.
Wow.
And here's a secret. You know the Mylar tape It comes in red, gold, silver, blue, mylar.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Well, what you do is you twist it you tie it on the floor and then tie it up there and twist it, and then you hit it with a fan, and the thing goes like this.
Okay.
And when a white light spotlight hits it, it looks like lasers going doo doo doo.
Wow, that's crazy.
$5.
Wow.
$5
cheap
trick.
to make something look phenomenal.
Yeah.
How about it?
It was like we had a grand piano on stage that people saw the grand piano, they heard grand piano, which was, all digital.
Yeah.
Thus it was a grand piano. That was the key trigger to the Benny and the Jets, was we were falsifying the truth in a way that visually enhanced the show.
It's amazing.
And it worked. It worked. We raised more money.
Wow.
For benefit that benefits everybody. The family services of California that were being threatened to be closed down by the governor of the state.
Wow.
We kept those doors open for another year.
Wow.
Because of one show that we did.
Wow. It's amazing. Well, Michael, we're going to come back in just a moment as we close out the segment of the show. And again, it's awesome having you on the show and talk about how you got involved with Willard Snow, this psychedelic famous artist that's climbing up with his psychedelic artwork on rock stars, musicians, and their gear and things like that. And talk also about the spiritual end with you with these isochronic tones and different type of hertz signals that actually can physically change properties of the body. We'll talk about that in a minute. Willard Snow.
How I met Willard Snow was through Mark Knudsen. Mm-hmm. He's the one who directed Legends and Idols.
Correct. Yep.
And he knew Willard. Mark knew Willard at an early age, and so they've been pretty much friends all their life.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
And I met Mark Knudsen around 2000, around the turn.
Got it. Okay.
And we hit it off right from the get-go, right from the start.
Nice.
And he and I, his ideas and ideology in the entertainment industry paralleled mine, and there's the connection. You don't find that very, very often. But there's probably a reason behind it, and I don't think it has anything to do with me and him being born on the same day and year.
Right. Interesting.
But we are. He's born in the morning. I'm born in the evening, and
so cool.
It's downright uncanny. I'll even, when I'm over visiting with him and his parents, I'll call his mom.
That's so cool. Yeah, I got you. Love it.
Anyway, and we started doing, short films. And one day he asked me if I wanted to, work on a film, a documentary with him, because I've already done a documentary.
Okay.
And I've won an award for working in documentary film.
Nice. Awesome. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. It's the Aurora Awards.
I've heard of that. That's big. Yes.
Yeah.
Aurora Awards is big in this business.
Yeah. The year before, Steven Spielberg won the best show, Platinum.
Mm-hmm.
Next year,
Wow.
I took it.
That's kick-ass. I
Platinum
love
Best
it.
of Show.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And I
Wow.
have to say, the film that I did it with Michael Childers and
Oh.
yeah, he named it Legends and Idols.
Okay.
Pretty sure it was Legends and Idols.
Yes. That's it. Yep.
I don't know. Icons and Legends is what it was called.
Okay.
And it had everything to do with the film industry. It had a lot of celebrity in it. I did 3 song tracks in the soundtrack, but I was the editor, so.
Okay, this is prior to Legends and Idols. This is called Icons.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got you. Okay, I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying. I got it. Sure.
Yeah. So, to get back to where I'm
Yes.
trying to focus on is Legends and Idols
Right.
today. And it's funny because Icons and Legends, it basically went viral
Wow.
back then.
Okay.
And because
Nice.
it had big names in it.
Oh, okay.
You're not gonna find me as a name dropper. I hate name droppers.
Okay.
But there's some big names, from Arnold Schwarzenegger to you know who.
Wow. All right.
And this is what I was bringing to the table
Okay.
with Legends and Idols.
Got you. Okay.
I didn't necessarily want to be the editor,
Right.
and yet some of the biggest segments in the film I edited.
Okay.
I got the VIP award
Nice. Very nice.
for just being there,
Right. Right. Right.
saying, okay, try this, or let me make a phone call
Right.
and let's get some activity, some action going
Right.
with people who are ticket drawers
Right. Yep.
that can talk about
Yep.
Willard.
Right. Okay. Yep.
And that's one of the keys in documentaries,
Yes.
that if you can do that, if you can capture that, that's a big plus in documentary
Very interesting. Yes.
perception.
Okay. So let's go a little more deeper as we close out the show today, which again, thank you for being a guest along with Willard as well earlier. Spiritual connection. You create these tones, which I love. I listen to stuff all the time, so I go to bed and listen to stuff. It's isochronic tones. It's hertz, different levels that create differences in people's lives. Let's talk about that as we close our show out.
Okay.
On a higher level, even more going beyond the arts and music and the production, the stage and film and cinema. Let's touch on that.
I envision a utopia, and what is taking place is the most bold and beautiful reset our world is going through in bloodless Armageddon. Let me say that again.
Okay.
Bloodless Armageddon. And the play with the words is Armageddon.
Right.
I've always looked at Armageddon as our mega dawn.
Yep.
So the frequency then goes from a 440 hertz,
Right.
megahertz,
Yes.
to a 432, which is what Mozart tuned his whole
Right.
symphony to. 432, which is beautiful, which is the tones and frequencies are attunable and acceptable and beautiful to the human frequency.
Yes.
Which is the 528 love tone, which is the planet.
The
You look at
miracle.
Hawaii,
Yes.
you look at those beautiful colors
Yes.
in Hawaii.
Yes.
That's the 528 tone frequency that is
The miracle
filling.
tone. They call that the miracle, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm very familiar.
And somewhere along the line, with weather control and all that other stuff, the Nazis, it's just crazy. But dealing with the simple Hegelian and the dialectic, what's going on here is the climate change is BS. And using the clarity illegitimate IPCC as a source of true information. If you want to understand man-made global warming, or climate change, watch the incredible, well-researched documentary Shade. The motion picture. It's on YouTube about the massive geoengineering going on in this world, and it brings about an unnatural climate change, weather manipulation.
Right.
It's a control, and sadly, it's only the 239K. I mean, which explains why so many are so deceived by its alarmist propaganda.
Okay. Sure.
The Nazis back in the 50s upped it to the megahertz to 440, which is
440.
unnatural.
Yeah, 440 is what is mostly the major tuning back, as we know, in the 70s, even the 60s, the 80s, and 90s. E440 is your tuning of standard on a guitar, on a piano.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
I get it. I get it.
Let me read something to you. The difference between 432 hertz and 440 hertz, the powers that we are successfully lowering the vibrations of not only the young generation, but the rest of us all. Well, this destructive frequencies and train the thoughts toward disruption,
Correct.
disharmony, and disunity.
Yes.
Additionally, they also stimulate the controlling organ of the body, the brain, into disharmonious resonance, which ultimately creates disease and war. So retune your musical instruments from A 440 hertz or to 432 hertz. 444 is better than 440. It's stagnant.
444
It's the Schumann resonance, like you were talking about earlier.
Well, 440 is also a 444 is a angelic number.
So 440 hertz frequency is discordant. It's mathematical chaos. It
No,
physically
444.
affects.
I'm talking about 444
Yeah.
is angelic.
444
Yes.
is it's most classical music is tuned to this frequency.
Wow.
Interestingly, the 1939, the Nazi Minister of Propaganda, Joseph Goebbels, lobbied the International Standarding Congress to change the standard frequencies to 440 hertz. He failed. Why would he care to do this? So sometime around the 50s, the standard shifted to 440. All commercial CDs and MP3s were set to 440 hertz.
Yes.
So 440 hertz.
All your bands, all them bands, like I said, throughout those decades, all the way to the 90s, even the 2000s, I think, are all in E standard. Most of them.
Yeah. This was spreading a discordant, it's mathematical chaos, and it physically affects people adversely.
So as we come to a close today, Michael, this is so interesting. I'd love to talk more about this. You, I believe, also create these tones with your record label. Is that right?
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Well, it's part of what I do. It's part of being a worker for God, a spiritual warrior.
Yes.
You know,
I know what you're talking about,
I don't do it to see my name on lights. I do it to help uplift humanity.
Yes, I got you. That's awesome.
While I'm doing this, I'm having some fun.
Okay.
And
no
no one's left behind. Okay?
Nice.
No one. Anybody who just has the guts to ask,
Sure.
there's going to be an answer. There's going to be an answer. And I long to see what I can be when adversity stares me down.
Wow, brother.
I don't want to know when time runs out. I really don't.
Let me ask you
What's
this.
left is just a boy and a girl,
Right.
or whatever,
Right.
wanting to change the world.
Let me ask you this last question, and we will be finished for this segment and the show. What is in the future that you see for Michael C. Drebert?
He envisions what is bold and beautiful.
Okay.
It's a good reset,
Okay.
and he wants the world what it's going through, and to understand that it's going to be a soft reset, as long as we.
So there's hope for mankind, is what you're saying, if you understand what we're discussing here.
Well, it's really simple. Have regard for your fellow person.
Gotcha. Perfect.
Because
Perfectly
that
stated.
will come back around. If you're worried that you're going to be left behind,
Right.
you're not. As long as you have regard for the person in front of you.
That's right.
Here.
That's right.
Because
Agreed.
somebody else is going to be watching over you. As long as you have that regard for another person. And I was in a wheelchair
Really?
a year ago.
Wow.
And I'm walking around now.
Wow, God bless you, man. That's amazing.
And before I was taking up space, and I was eating to live.
Wow.
Now I'm living to eat.
Okay.
I'm making a difference.
Awesome.
And that's what my life is. That's what my mantra is.
All right, well, Mark.
I'm out there to live my life. You won't find me anywhere else but helping get music out to the world.
I love that. And we're going to end on that. That's an amazing way of ending this show. And I want to thank my partner, Rock Dude, myself, Marky Z. The Rockin' House is appreciative to have Michael C. Drebert, as well as Willard Snow, to the show today. Thank you so much for coming and being a guest. God bless you, man.